One of the questions that I get asked quite often is, what type of equipment am I using here in the studio? So I thought today I would kind of go behind the scenes and show you the different microphones that I'm using, the different camera I'm using, the audio equipment, the lights, everything. All this and more in today's video. So let's start with some of the equipment that I have here around me and the things that I use to control what's going on. So I have over here an iPad that helps control the black cinema camera. And if I show you here, I'll switch over to Super Source, and I'll just show you in a second. What this does is, depending on what setting I choose, you can choose and set different color gradients and different color perspectives for my camera. You can also adjust the white balance and other things as well. So directly in front of me, as you saw, I was pressing the buttons here. This is my camera switcher. It's an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. And this comes from Blackmagic Design, also the same company that makes this camera that you're currently looking at as well. Now, what this does is it allows me to choose depending on what buttons I press. So like right now, camera 6 is the camera directly behind me. Camera 1, this is the main camera, it's here. And then I also have, depending on what I'm doing, I can either bring in stuff for my MacBook Pro, depending on, that's camera 2, right now it's not plugged in. My iPad, I have multiple Apple TVs, depending on what's going on, I can turn them on and I can bring in different things that are going on there. That helps if I'm going to be restreaming a live broadcast, or if I want to bring in another video feed, or different things that I want to source, I have those abilities. And you can see here that I have multiple different camera sources, depending on what I want. There are many different features of what this Blackmagic ATEM can do, and I'm only kind of hitting the surface here. Honestly, it should have an entire hour-long video or multiple hour-long videos just showing the different features of what you can do with this setup. You'll also notice over here is a computer screen. This is connected to the ATEM software, so there's different things that you can set in the software that I can control that are slightly different than what you do with the buttons. You can also set certain macros, so when you press certain buttons, it does different things. It's very powerful and does, honestly, way more than I ever use. Directly in front of me here is a preview, so I'm able to see over in this corner here, that's what's currently being recorded. This is my main camera, and then all my different sources show up as these down here. I also have down here my audio level, so I can see from all my different microphones. Right now I'm using a main mic right above me, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Other things I have around me here is obviously a keyboard for this computer, which is actually the same exact computer that's here that basically just runs the wallpaper. It's not used for anything except for the wallpaper and for this ATEM software over here. Now moving over to some of the audio stuff that I use, as you can see right here as I'm recording, there's different things that are going on. This is a DBX 286S. The microphone that's directly above me, which you can't really see in this camera angle, but I'll adjust the cameras in a few minutes, then I'll walk around the entire studio handheld so you'll see where everything's positioned. But the microphone that's up here is plugged directly into this DBX box. Comes in through the back. There's certain things that it does by adjusting the line in, adjusting the audio. There's different thresholds and frequencies, and I'm not going to get into all that and make it a very confusing video. It's just this makes the audio sound much better. It's not perfect because I am far from an audio engineer, but it makes it sound a little bit better. I also have some of my stage money, which, as you can see, it's just, well, if we can get it to focus, there we go. It's just fake money. Occasionally when I'll show this up on the video, I will put a real 100 in front of it, but come on, honestly, does anybody really think that I just have $20,000 in cash sitting around as props? Come on now, that would just be stupid. Now let me switch over to the handheld and I'll start recording that way. And that will give you a much better perspective of what's going on in this studio. All right, now taking you a little bit more of a view of what's going on here in the studio. So you've already seen the ATEM. When I'm recording, it records directly to this SSD drive. Here's the view of what I see. This is the microphone. And I'll list all the individual models. Oh, going directly into the light there. I'll list all the individual models of everything that I use directly in a blog post that I'll attach to this. So this microphone goes down over here. Let's show you where the microphone's connected to. So this microphone here comes down over this boom. Cable comes down into this rat's nest of a bunch of cables. Goes directly into the back of the audio processor. Right here into the line in. Not sure how well you can see it because it's so bright in this room and it's dark in this cabinet. But here's the line in. The line out then feeds, you see this cable it's dangling, feeds directly into the Blackmagic camera that I actually use for my recording. Oh, and Windows Defender wants to tell me something. I hate Windows. It says, did not find any threats. Well, that's always good. So the Blackmagic Cinema camera is right here. This is what actually does all of my recordings for me. So I use this as my main studio camera that feeds through HDMI, through this HDMI cord over here, into the back, and it's camera number 1, as you saw earlier. I also use an iPad here, which, let me turn the iPad on. Oh, you guys don't need to see my secret password of 1234. I don't really use this iPad for anything else. So we can pull up a teleprompter. So this is what it looks when I'm looking directly into the teleprompter. So I see that from back here. Let's go back from my angle. So this is what I'm looking at when I'm recording. I look directly into that camera and I'm able to read whatever is on my teleprompter. On the walls, I have a combination of foam, which I'll provide all the links for what these items are, but I use some of the foam to help with some of the audio. I also have on the door and on the wall this fabric. All it is moving blankets. I had a bunch of them left over from when I moved. Now, you'll see that a lot of the audio panels on the walls are kind of haphazardly installed. They are. There's a couple reasons for that. One, I added them as I needed them. And two, I already had this entire studio set up while I was waiting for them to come in the mail. They were on back order. I also have another one up here on the backdrop, which helps with some of the audio reverberating through the room, and I have some on the ceiling. That ceiling fan is off when I'm recording. The lights that I use, I'll put a link down to exactly which ones they are and what the boxes are for them. And the tripods that hold them up. The lights that are back here are Hue light bulbs. So I have some of their antique lights. Another one of their antique lights. This was just a frame that I purchased, I think at Target, maybe? I don't remember. I'll see where I got those. I bought them so long ago. These are Hue lights as well. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but it's kind of showing up now. That's a purple light at the moment. There's more back there. They're set to kind of like a yellowish color. Then I also have, let's see if we can see these here, more Hue lights that aim directly up from the back of the monitors. And that's what gives, you can kind of see this purple that's right here. That's from those lights that are directly behind the two computer monitors. Then I have just random junk that's out of the frame. I've got an Open for Business t-shirt. Hey. A small tripod that's used for either some of the GoPro cameras, some of the other stuff. More of the SSD drives that are used for a lot of recording. SSD drives, and then these are our portable drives that we used when we were out on the helicopter and having to dump a bunch of footage. Let's see what else is in here that's important for you guys to know about. I'll show all the individual tripods and stuff that I have. Some of the ones that are just holding up these lights, some of these small ones like right here, they're nothing fancy. I'll put the links in there. The one that's probably I don't want to say the fanciest, but probably the most expensive is this one right here. Okay, right here in the center. That one has a counterweight over there. Now let's see if I can get a pretty good camera angle for you here. Probably not. This holds the microphone over to there. So if I stand back here for a little bit, you can kind of see how far. Let's see if I can get it. No, I don't think there's any really good angles. Let's see if I can find an angle here for you. That works. So you can see how far. Hold on, let's turn off the studio lights. There we go. That'll make it easier. All right, so you can see this microphone here, and you see how far that boom has to go. It has to be a pretty sturdy and stout and heavy tripod to be able to hold this microphone extended this far out. Now with the lights off, you kind of get a little bit different perspective of what's going on. You'll see that when I turn the lights off, here's how I control them. Some of them I just have on literally just a regular wall switch called Studio, and regular for the light, which is the light above my fan, the fan itself. Then I have one of the Philips Hue remotes. This turns on and off all these lights in the back here. So when I press this on, all those turn on. I also have so that the same remote is able to turn that light on and off, because that's not a Hue light bulb. It's plugged into a Hue wall outlet adapter. So pressing this button will turn this switch on and off as well. So it's all this one button turns on all of my Hue lights in one shot. So when I keep it here on the wall, when I walk in, I turn on Studio, turn on Light, turn on the Hue. And I usually turn off the fan because the fan's normally on while I'm in here. So this kind of gives you a bit of a perspective of what I see. This is obviously directly behind my chair. You can see the huge rat's nest of wires that are down there. Yeah, I probably could organize that better, but it is what it is. I also have 2 of the Apple TVs. Those bring in different video sources for me really quick. There's another one that's over there. And then networking cables as well, so that I'm able to have all this stuff onto the network. I really hope this information helps you guys out. You can kind of see how my studio was built. This has been something that I've been building over the years. It's not what I started with, and it's not what you need to start. If you're just starting out, you do not need all this equipment. Heck, even if you have a channel that's been going for a while, you really don't need all this equipment. Now, if you are interested in how I record videos in a helicopter, I'll make a follow-up video that I'll put on my helicopter channel, Stephen Flies, that shows how I set up all my cameras in the helicopter, how I'm able to bring the audio in, and all of that. I'll also make another video that shows how I record restaurants and hotels when I'm going out in person, because obviously I can't bring the studio with me. That'll be on my other channel, Destination Travel. I now have 3 channels, The Stephen Carlson Show, this one. I have Destination Travel, which is all amazing places throughout the country that I've traveled to. And then I have Stephen Flies, which is just my helicopter videos.